Life before Friends and Film was very unsure of what was going to happen because I knew I wanted to be in the film and TV industry. I wanted to be on set or do something visual, but I had no idea how to get in that business. Although I even did film school with the New York Film Academy. I learned a lot of things. I made a lot of short films. I mean, New York Film Academy is very hands-on. It wasn't really giving me the tools to understand that you have to become your own business. You kind of have to market yourself and get yourself out there. And I really had no idea how to do that. With Janet, it's just, even until today, it's every day I keep on building on the lessons that she taught us in Friends in the program. And every day I learn more, and every day I apply more, and every day I get more response. And it's really working out, because today I'm a VFX coordinator for Pixamondo. I wouldn't have been here in 1 year in this position without all the tips and tricks and ways to present yourself and what you have to say, because I knew I could, the content, content wise, I knew I could do it. That was not the issue. It was more like, I know I'm not presenting myself correctly. I know I don't have the CV that, like, I don't know how to organize my CV to present myself. I don't know what to say. I feel very insecure when it comes to the building social relationships and the networking. I also always struggle with a lot of self-confidence, and now I wouldn't say it's sorted, but I have tools to deal with it. I have tools to move forward and not constantly break myself down or tell myself I can't do it. I started in sending my first emails last year, beginning of March. So basically a year. Now I'm a VFX coordinator. And I truly believe that, I think in 3 years' time, I'm going to do a show like 100 or 200 shots as a VFX producer with this method, with this kind of way of just building that is more than possible. So I'm from Belgium originally. So I grew up there. I studied there. I worked a little bit in the Belgian film industry. So I was on set as a production assistant for a TV show that was shown on national television. That was a Belgian TV show. And on the other side, I was working with a line producer as a production assistant as well. We have one super big studio in Belgium, the Lin Studios, which is a bit the Pinewood studio of Belgium. So I shot there. I was there a couple of times. And then I moved to London because I found a job there. I started first with boomerang methods, so just handing out my CV. I didn't really know that many people there, but I was like, yeah, I have nothing to lose. So I got a job there as well as a production, like more senior production assistant job. It was in-house, but it was for a very interesting company. They do production, like physical production work, but at the same time, they also did motion design and animation. So I kind of worked on projects that blended those two. And that's when I realized, actually, I prefer working on projects that are more motion design, visual effects, animation oriented. I worked on interesting stuff. Like I worked on a commercial, kind of a commercial experience for BMW in China, for a video, content visuals for Snow Patrol, because they were celebrating their 30 or 15 year and an anniversary. I don't know how many years. I have to look that up. Then Ellie Goulding concept visuals, and then a very big corporate client where they did it's Cvent, which is a big organization. So we did all the visuals, all the animations for that event. And that's when I realized, look, I have to be, like Jan says, focus. What is the outcome? Where do I want to like go towards what is it? What do I want to do? And so like last year, the second half was really about figuring out how I was going to do this and what I was going to do. I was still like here and there doing some production assistant jobs, but I really wanted to make sure that I was networking correctly. And I met an editor, actually, who is now the first assistant editor and works on the Mission Impossible films. So he said to me, I'm going to help you out. I have some friends who work in VFX, because he was an editor. So I was like, they work with the VFX, they work with the plates, they work with all these people. And then I learned about there's the client side, so you can do VFX on set. So work with the VFX supervisor who's on set, with the VFX producer who is on the client side, or you can work at a vendor. And after really conversations I have with VFX producers, most of them said, look, if you really want to learn the job, you have to go to a vendor first to understand the creative process. And then you go to the client side. Once you're more of a producer or line producer, once you decided what you like best. And then they say you will understand where everything comes from, and you'll also will have developed better relationships with the vendors, which makes it a lot easier for you to choose from. That is a good vendor, or I want this vendor, or we'll work it out this way. The editor said to me, is the way, your attitude, he said, and he said, you're also very, like, on set, he said, you're just so present. I think he recognized himself a little in me, like, I want this, I got this, I'll find a way to get there. But he was someone who wanted to mentor someone. He does that. It's just his MO. That's his way of networking. The one producer that I spoke to, the VFX producer, she said to me, you're very bold in the way you reached out to me. And she said, I like that. And that's why I said yes. So yeah, I think, and then there's people that didn't never responded. So it's not like, I think one person told me, not everyone wants to be a mentor. Not everyone wants to do that. Just don't take it personally. It's just that they don't want to do it. And I think that helps me when I reach out. I'm just like, it's not something they want to do. So this is my path. So after doing all that work, which I wouldn't have known how to do without Janet's kind of input, but there's a lot of things, of course, I learned along the way, but I had confidence that whatever was going to happen, that I was going to be able to do it. When it comes to the community, it's massive. In the beginning, I was very scared. I told you my problems of self-confidence. I was like, oh, then I'm going to show that I'm not good enough and that I can't do this, or I don't understand this. Huge issues of self-confidence. And when I started really, because Janet really pushes you to kind of post in Yammer and engage. And when I really started to do that, I realized, oh my God, this group of people is just like me. We're just trying things out. We're just trying to figure it out. And I realized it just gave me so much strength, because in London there's the meetup. We do a meetup of all the people that are in Friends in Film. And it was just so cool to see all these people in live and then kind of just chat with them. I even, like, at the time, there was someone who did a program who came from America, was in London on holiday, and now he's back in America doing the program very successfully. And I was like, and we're still friends. I mean, we can share so much, like, what happened on set? How would you respond? I got this job. What should I do? I mean, I think offline and online, like in the Yammer group, you can really talk about all of the modules and things you might encounter on set, or even the successes you've had. But at the same time, I think also if you can connect locally with people that are in your, like in London or even somewhere else, and you can really bond over that and over that experience. And for me, that was actually I found that so much more enriching to my life and to the way I do things than film school. It's not like school. It's definitely not school. But I think I found that was what worked for me. It is purely about having people coming together, learning together, but everyone can learn in their own way. It's not you have to learn it this way, and A is A and B is B and C is C. It is you can go over this information and digest it in your own way. And the fact that you have Yammer is a way to kind of express what you learned, and that way you're sure, have I learned it or not? Because I think, and for me anyway, when I learn, I really just have to kind of tell someone. Then I know for sure, oh yeah, I understood. I got it. Before I started with the program, I actually struggled a lot with my health because I have autoimmune disorder. And I was like, I have to find a way to get myself healthy again. And which I did, which is a natural therapy, but and a very strict diet, but it works. And I knew I could do this, but I had no idea how. And I do find that sometimes I still carry those beliefs from like what those doctors said, it's not possible, and what you're thinking of is just you're imagining it, because there's so many times I've heard that it's in your head and you're imagining it and it's not true, and that kind of anxiety and those kind of boxes that they put onto it, I still carry that with me, but I am so much more conscious of these perceptions that I can just say, you know what, that was part of my past me. That is not what is now, because now I'm healthy, now I can live, now I go to work, now I can make my food now. So those problems don't exist anymore. And I think for me, that has always resonated very, very much, because healing myself meant breaking the limiting beliefs of so many doctors and scientists. And it's physical for me, and at the same time it's very spiritual and mental. And I think that one really is, you create your life. And it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. The question of how am I going to do that? Yeah, I always ask myself those questions. Because for me, I don't come from, you have to understand that I think if you compare it to the States, when it comes to knowledge about advancing your career and like getting ahead, and like I don't come from a big city like New York City or LA or any big. I come from a city where there's, I think, 200,000 people, and that is big in Belgium. And I think in the States that's small, if I'm correct. So that is also like everyone still was able to know each other. So you still knew, oh, that person is from that family and they are from that. So, you know, I grew up in that kind of mentality, which is nice. I mean, there's very good stuff that comes from that. People are very kind. You say hello to everyone. There's very nice social things that come with that kind of upbringing, but you're not prepared for everything else. And you kind of have to deal with limiting beliefs because people don't want you to move past that small town. They don't. They just believe that getting married, having children, done. And I was like, how am I going to get out of here? What do I have to do? Because I'm willing to put in the hard work. Because people, when I was 15, 16 and told them about my big dreams, I want to live in a big city and work on things like big projects and creative things. And they were like, girl, you'll have to move to New York or LA, or you can't do that here. And anyway, your dreams are, I mean, too big. You're not lucky. You know, you're not born into wealth. You're not connected to anyone that is in the industry. I've heard it all. I mean, all the excuses, all the things that could. I've basically heard it all. I'm definitely an example of someone. I don't have family that works in the industry. I don't come from a country that is very film or TV oriented, like Belgium. Come on. I mean, it's a it's a service industry. Like, it just does co-productions most of the time. It has very small, limited. It's very regional. It's like regional. I think it compares to regional TV in America. You have that, right? Like TV stations in towns. It's like that. We have three big TV stations. That's it. We have maybe 20 films that come out a year, max. Whoa. So that is the output. That is where I come from. So if people say it's not possible, look, I moved countries twice. I learned a different language because I'm not English speaking. I am actually Dutch-French bilingual. So those are my native languages. I'm not English speaker. So I had to learn to speak English. If people tell me it's not possible, sorry to say, I've just put in a lot of hard work just to get there. And yeah, it sometimes just sucks. It just does. But the difference that this program makes is you realize that when these moments happen, it's a part of the experience. You just, in those moments, on that day that you think, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Why am I doing this? How did I get here? And why isn't this working? And then you just kind of recenter and just kind of ask yourself questions of, look, these were the reasons I came here. This is the outcome. You don't look backwards, you look forward. And you just see, that's the outcome I want. Okay, these are the things that I can do.